p.m. right here on KZCC 106.1 and 104.5 FM. Make sure to tune in and keep it on for Community Radio's version of a slow-motion train wreck. You will hear our take on some of the world's oddest news, our mind droppings, and general banter from your favorite radio friends, me and Dick Schisler. We are also available on all of your favorite podcasting platforms.
Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com. You're listening to Mornings of Lone Star here on Lone Star Community Radio, irlonestar.com worldwide, and of course, Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1. And I'm hanging out in the studio right now, and I have a special group coming in talking about the 50th anniversary of the Woodlands. I'm talking about the town, the Woodlands. I have Kim Phillips and Brad Bailey in the studio. What's going on, guys?
Hey, how are you?
Doing
good morning.
Good. Good morning.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah. So, okay, if we're on YouTube, Facebook, guys. So if you're listening on the FM and the stream, you can tune in and watch us. Kim is actually with the Howard Hughes Corporation, and Brad is on the township or board of the directors. It's kind of, I don't really fully understand it over there sometimes because the township is the whole government.
Right, we are the only township in Texas, so it's something we're proud. It's a special purpose district on, I like to say, steroids. So we have taxing authorities in that, but we are elected 7 board members, and I am position 1. So we kind of act as the city council, so to speak, of the Woodlands Township.
So the township is basically like the city council,
correct,
in a sense.
Correct,
okay,
yeah.
Just making sure. And then Howard Hughes Corporation, from what I understand, it's just a developer. You
Yes.
guys kind of like manage and develop. So, because I know up north in the Willis area, y'all have a nice little development there called Woodlands Hills, which is great. And then you have also, basically the Woodlands, would you say?
Yes, we have 3 master plan communities here in the greater Houston area. The Woodlands, which we're here to talk about with the 50th anniversary, that was started by George Mitchell, our founder.
Yeah.
And now it's Howard Hughes. We also developed Bridgeland in Cypress. Bridgeland's about half the size of the Woodlands.
Okay.
And a great master plan community, ranked in the top 5 for sales. Very popular community. And then, as you mentioned, the Woodlands Hills in Conroe and Willis.
Okay, yeah, because I just want to give people an idea of what exactly you guys' involvement in the Woodlands, because you kind of are the Woodlands in a sense,
Yes.
in all aspects. So there's so many working parts to the Woodlands, and then also really to this county. But you guys are celebrating the 50th anniversary of the town.
That's right.
Really
Amazing, isn't
Amazing.
it?
It really is. I'm a creature of history. I love looking back at things, but to see how George Mitchell had this vision in this forest and bought up all this, land and, started thinking about how wide the streets need to be over 50 years ago. And today they're still in the perfect, symmetry of what he was looking for, how town center was designed. He did that over 50 years ago. And it's remarkable to look back, and we have people from all over the world come and kind of study the live, work, play, and pray model that we have in the Woodlands. We've been awarded a lot of, number 1 city to live in America. But it's because of that we live in a livable forest, and nature is a huge part of what we do.
Yeah.
And we have over 220 miles of hike and bike trail pathways. So the outdoors are what we do, and it's an incredible community.
And so to talk about the 50th anniversary, I will let the listeners know that I put a link that kind of goes over everything that's happening during the celebration, because there's a lot going to be happening. And it all starts, I believe, in October, basically the middle of October, and it's a week long, roughly?
Yes, October 14th through the 19th. And the 19th is the actual anniversary, which is a Saturday, which is perfect for all the festivities that we have planned for the community.
When you say the 19th, or was there actually like a day he signed, like someone signed something?
It was a groundbreaking.
Okay.
Yes. Now, he started planning before that.
Yeah.
In around early 70s.
Yeah.
But that was the actual groundbreaking. And to add on what Brad said, his vision, the innovation, the excellence that he put forth, everything you see in the Woodlands happened by design.
Yeah.
He planned it out. So most developers at the time, when you have land that's on a major highway on I-45, usually they'll develop the commercial real quickly to get revenue. He had the patience and his vision to say, I want a big business epicenter to support the residents. So he first started with all the homes and built all the residential around the town center and left the town center for the last component to complement that, because that live, work, play, pray, learn, you need that big business center. We have over 66,000 employees in the Woodlands. More people commute into the Woodlands than out of it. So it gives you...
It's pretty wild, I bet. I bet a lot of people do not know that.
But it gives you such a great lifestyle, because if you could live close to where you work and not worry about the commutes into a major city and back, that's time that you're spending with your family. You know, people could walk their kids to school, be in the office in 10 minutes, work a full day, come home, be able to attend all their kids' activities with their family and spend time together with their friends and meet up and go to concerts and your shopping, dining, entertainment. Everything is within 10, 15 minutes. And that was by design for him. When he thought about this and envisioned it over 50 years ago, when nobody ever knew what a town center was, nobody either had that foresight, but he did, and he had the patience to develop that.
Why do you think he wanted to do that?
It's remarkable. I've been reading a lot of the history of that. We've actually talked to his grandchildren and children a lot. He had 10 kids. But
that's probably why he did that.
I really believe, he's the father of fracking also, which is crazy. But I really think he's truly, to his core, was, an environmentalist. I mean, he really wanted to live in a livable forest.
Yeah.
There's talking to some of the original developers, home builders. There's it's kind of legend where he would drive around and take pictures with his camera, and if you were breaking any of the rules as far as saving the trees and the natural forest, he would take pictures, and then he would have like the old school projector and spinning around saying, here you are, and it's a 3-strike rule and you're out, and then you could no longer build in the woodlands. But he was very hands-on, and you can just see so much of our community with his fingerprints on it and how important it was to him. But he was just such an outside the box thinker. I mean, people say he was thinking decades in front of them, and these are people that have worked with him. And I truly believe that. It's really remarkable. I mean, you think about, he recruited the Houston Open, the PGA Tour, to the Woodlands, and as a way to be able to highlight the Woodlands. He thought about doing the Cynthia Woods Mitchell Pavilion, an amphitheater, at the time that people were like, you're building a 10,000 person amphitheater in the Woodlands. No one thought it was possible at the time, but it's now one of the biggest anchors that we have as far as tourism and visitors, and the #1 amphitheater in the world right now as far as attendance. So, it's visionaries like that you don't come around very often, but I truly think this was one of his proudest things he did. His fingerprints were all over it. People still come to this day from all over the world to study it, because it's a different model from what you see as far as the tract home builders now that kind of come in and just bulldoze everything and put up lots and put a little tree and a mailbox in front of a house. That's not, he literally cut into the forest, and making sure we preserve the forest is important. What's the percentage of acres we have that are natural forest compared to open land?
35%, which is unprecedented.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely amazing.
I bet there's a rule. I bet he wrote something in big bold, said like no more, no less than this percent. I could see that.
Well, and there are different guidelines throughout the community where, with the forested buffers, to make sure that you maintain that forest. And we at Howard Hughes, we talk about George Mitchell every single day in our office. What would George do?
That's got to be so weird. Talk about a guy that's like who's been passed for a while. I feel like that would be weird. It's
amazing. I wish he was still here. He and his wife Cynthia, everything that put forth, again, it was so planned. And we take that same approach where, as Brad mentioned, a lot of developers will look at a little piece of land that they have and how much value they're going to get for it. We look at it as a collective. And that's why it's called master plan community, because everything that we do is very thoughtful, our approach, strategic, and we look decades in advance. We're talking about 10 years from now, 20 years from now, where our community will be, and making sure that we have a sustainable community moving forward and maintain the vibrancy that we have. I mean, it's amazing when you look across the nation, like, for instance, office. The narrative across the nation is offices are dying. we are so vibrant. We keep signing leases, and companies are coming here.
I feel like I read somewhere they're building more buildings over there by the mall. Is that something, did I misread that?
You know, there's a lot of planning for what the future will be.
Yeah.
Because we have to look out for what will that
Well,
be.
I mean like towers, like big buildings. Is that?
I don't think there's anything. You have the Ritz-Carlton that you guys.
We have
are
the
looking-
Ritz-Carlton,
Yeah.
which will be hopefully breaking ground soon here.
That's a hotel, right?
Tremendous. No, that's a full residence. It's the only Ritz-Carlton residence in the state of Texas. Which
What
is
does that
really
even?
proud.
So what's that mean? I don't understand what that.
Uh,
See, every time I think of the Ritz Carlton, I think of a hotel. Is
A lot
that
of
not?
times it's hotel with residence on top. This is just 100% residence.
So this is going to be like lofts or something, or like what do you?
all condos.
Condos. Okay.
Yes, that's a great project.
Very high end.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. I. No.
Very
I,
high
well,
end,
you hear
right
the-
on Lake Woodlands.
When you
They're
hear
going
the
to be
Ritz, that's what I
gorgeous.
think. You know, that kind of stuff.
And we brought in Robert Stern to design it, which he is internationally known. So it's going to be a really incredible property. But we're always looking at what is that future. So we have a lot of thoughts that we kind of go through, but we really build to market demand. So while we have a lot of ideas and thoughts on what could be where, it just depends on where the market's going. And as we're
Yeah.
leasing up office space, there will be another office. We have corporations who want to come here because of the vibrancy, that live, work, play, learn, and pray community that we've built. It's number one community
really
in
interesting.
America. We were ranked.
We have our biggest economic development tool, I believe, is what we have is what George Mitchell created. Because when we have corporations come and visit the Woodlands, thinking about moving from California or Chicago or what have you, they see this model of being able to, drop your kids off in 10 minutes. You're at the office, and 220 miles of parks and or pathways, 151 parks, and the natural environment. That's why we have more Fortune 500 corporate headquarters than 4 other states have. And it's just because they want to really locate here and enjoy
No,
it.
I believe it.
So
I mean, I've been around the Woodlands since I was born. So, because I actually had family that lived there, over 40 years ago. And so it was kind of like, you see the development also. It was a place where people lived. It wasn't just that people visited a lot. It was like that's where a lot of people that's where they lived. And that's one thing that's cool about the celebration, because you guys are doing a little bit of everything every day starting October 14th through October 19th. So let's guide people around who want to be involved with this kind of cool 50th anniversary thing.
Absolutely.
So you have the kickoff on the 14th, which I imagine it's more of just, like, hey, this is what a little bit of history here it is. There's not like a lot of public events for that day. Or
Correct. That'll be a kickoff. We'll have the media there.
Yeah.
We'll be doing some proclamations all the way, local groups up to the governor's office. And we are going to have a time capsule also. It'll be, we just learned, there's been 3 with the development company so far. Also, John Cooper has a time capsule too.
awesome.
So
The
there's
school?
currently 4.
Is that a
Yes,
school?
they
It's a
do.
school, right?
Yes, the John Cooper School. So this will be the 5th time capsule. So we're working through and all.
it's got to be so weird to have a time capsule today, because it'd be like a microchip. It has all this data, because like you think about in like the early 30s, 40s when they were doing it was actually like paper magazines or a picture
Yes.
or like physical things, and now it's like, oh, here's all my songs I
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
and it's
Here's
just
the-
like on a chip.
And, we did talk about that where, what will go in that time capsule. And we really want to commemorate and showcase what 2024 is in the Woodlands. So if we were to put something like a chip or
like a
flash
thumb drive or something.
we'd
Yeah.
have to put the gadget where they would be able to play it,
Yeah,
because
no
in
doubt.
50 or how many years we decide on
I have an old
capsule.
iPod if y'all
There
if
you
y'all want
go.
to use it.
We'll open the capsule up, and there's an 8-track, tape there. So we'll see if that works. But I don't know how to play those nowadays. So yeah.
That's I always think about that today, because it was so easy back then, because you could do your favorite book or like a picture of your family, but now it's like, do we have those things to actually put in there?
I know.
So
And then Tuesday will be a great day for our community. We're partnering with Interfaith. Now, Interfaith of the Woodlands was started by George Mitchell 50 years ago. Also, they already celebrated their 50 years for.
did he
really
start a
being-
restaurant by any chance?
Not that I know.
I know that's a
He
random
had-
question.
He started a lot of hotels.
Okay.
I grew up down in Galveston County, Clay Lake area, so I knew the George Mitchell from the Galveston side. So he totally did historic preservation of the Strand. He started the Tremont House, which is an incredible place there off the Strand. The San Luis Hotel was his. So I'm sure he had many restaurants inside those. But
Well, I was
don't
just
know.
saying, well, this guy, you talk about he's a thinker, and he started a church, or kind of like, I imagine that he wasn't like the preacher, but he started the whole thing getting going. So I was like, I wonder if he would just start a restaurant. Like, what's his favorite food? Because I can see him doing
Greek
that.
food. He's Greek. He's Greek. So maybe it's
So the interfaith, sorry to interrupt. So on
yes.
Tuesday, October 15th.
It's a day of giving. Now, Interfaith gives back to the community. It's the biggest charitable arm that he started to really help work with all the churches and then also what the community needs are. So Interfaith supports a lot of the nonprofits. So it's going to be a day of giving, and we're working with them. And it's going to be opportunities for people to volunteer in the community, and also whether it's like food drives and something to help those in need.
Yeah,
So-
Interfaith is just a staple in our community. It's one of the backbones of our community. They do so much to help so many people. And right now, during Hurricane Beryl recovery, they're at the front line doing just incredible stuff from foods to seniors and people that have been put out to ICE to medical care. They've got a huge medical clinic that does a really good job. And Missy Herndon and her team who run that now are phenomenal and huge partners of what we do and how we do it.
So you said that people can volunteer that day. Is there any information available about this? Because I imagine a lot more development is going to be happening on the website, especially the link I put, for more information about each day, because this is in October.
Right.
So,
Yes, there'll be more information coming soon.
Okay.
And then, so it will be on the woodlands.com. It'll also be on Interfaith. We'll be posting on social media, sending it to the media also once we have it finalized. But hold that day because it's going to be a wonderful day, and there's nothing
The day
better
of
than
giving.
giving back. Yes.
Right.
Okay. And then on the 16th.
That Wednesday, the tree dedication.
Oh yeah, we're bringing in a massive tree. Like
1,000-gallon tree.
Is it 1,000?
I'm
gallons?
sorry. Yeah, 1,000-gallon tree.
Okay, but it's huge, and we're putting it in North Shore Park. We're doing a huge dedication of what more in a livable forest could you do for the 50th and have a tree. It's going to be really lit up, neat, and underneath it, but massive cranes are going to have to get this thing off, and cherry pickers are going to have to be in front of the truck to move the trees to get this tree in. So it'll be fun. It'll be a fun event. And then we're also doing planting trees in all the different villages that we have across the Woodlands to commemorate that. This year, one of the proudest achievements that we've done, and looking at post-hurricane, I'm glad we did it. We spent over $1 million in reforestation and putting trees all across the Woodlands. Over 6,000 trees that we've planted this year. Started earlier this year, and we're going to finish up in October. So making sure that we protect the livable forest that George Mitchell was so passionate about is something that's really important to us. But this tree is not like the 6,000 trees we're planting. This is a massive tree, and it's going to be something. It's a staple for our community for the next 50 years.
Who's in charge of finding a tree?
Chris Noons, the chief
Yeah.
operating officer at the Woodlands Township.
Because you don't just order it out of a catalog.
No,
I feel like.
it's not. No, you got to go look at it and pick it and make sure it's got the good tree and drip line. There's a lot to
Yeah,
it. But
that's amazing. So that's going to be on the 16th, and you're going to have a location for
North Shore Park.
North Shore Park, so people need to come on that
we've
day.
got a area picked out for it, and
Okay.
they're starting to get all that prepped, and a lot goes into it. So, but it's something that will be another staple in our community for the next 50 years.
Okay, and then the next day on the 17th, which is a Thursday, what's going on that day?
We are going to unveil an art mural along the Woodlands Waterway.
Okay,
And
well,
we
the
will-
waterway's a little long, so where's that going to be?
It's going to be near
The pavilion.
the pavilion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Right on the waterway. And we're really excited about that. All these events, it really ties into the pillars of what the community means, from giving back to the community on Tuesday, the trees and the reforestation, and on Wednesday, and then the arts and culture is so important to our community too. So we were working with the Woodlands Arts Council, and we did an all call to residents to submit their artwork. And we received over 38 entries, and we've been narrowing it down.
So
to
one
4.
person or one
One
person?
person, yes. One local artist will be painting it. So we're in the process there.
At least
but it'll
you're
be
at
that
least you're
Thursday.
filtering them out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I always imagine when you get like a mural person and like you don't like it, You're like, what do you do?
Yeah, being an elected official, I'm not participating in choosing who's the best artist.
Yeah,
it's very hard because there's so many incredible artists across our community. So to narrow down, we're still narrowing it down to the top 4 or 5 to go to the next phase for what the vision of that will look like. And it's difficult, it really is.
I think this is something that separates I think the Woodlands from a lot of different places is our art. We have the largest collection of public art in the country?
For a community of its size, we have 90 outdoor art pieces.
Yeah, I've seen them.
And it's really twofold. Number one, we have through our development company an art fund. So for every commercial project, we take a certain amount of money, cost for that, and put it towards an art fund to create new art in our community and also to maintain the art, which is extra important.
Who's in charge of that?
Howard Hughes is in charge of that.
But that was Mr. Mitchell's vision.
No, I meant like the individual. Who's the individual? When we said Howard Hughes, I was like, wait, he's dead too. Like, what is going on here?
We have a couple of people. Kelly Dietrich plays a big role in that, and a couple of people on our team.
Because those people are interesting people because it's like they're choosing the art.
Yeah, but just think about like some of the incredible art pieces that have been there that are just legacy art pieces.
Yeah.
Dreamer.
The Dreamer of the guy kind of laying down, looking up.
Mm-hmm.
The hand that, what is that one called?
Yes.
I love that one as well. And even the sculpture, Mr. Mitchell, I was talking to one of the longtime top employees of his. And when he bought the piece of art, when you're going over the flyover, it's right
the family.
above
It's called Family.
It's called Family. Mm-hmm. They bought it out on the East Coast, and they said, "Hey, we bought this incredible piece of art. We want it to be at the front of the Woodlands." And he said, 5 semis later, he had to take it down from there and bring it all the way and erect it. I mean, it was a massive thing, but George Mitchell and his wife Cynthia were passionate about the arts, and they insisted on making it all throughout the Woodlands, and that's what you see today. And Howard Hughes is expanding on that as we've grown. And but I think it's something that just separates us. We're not just putting a nice little flower landscape area. You actually have art that's surrounding it, and then
all the art's different too.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like whoever's doing that, it's just kind of like, because I'm not an artist, or I don't even know what art would look like. But when you walk down the waterway, you walk around the Woodlands, you're like, what is this? And then and it's an art piece, and you're like,
it's just integrated. And the latest one, the most recent ones, was the Alex Katz mural. It's on a 4-story parking garage across from the Westin by the Waterway Square. It's just tremendous. And we contracted with Alex Katz, who's internationally known artist. And they painted a beautiful mural. But also the Arts Council does a lot in art. So they have a fundraising program with all the art benches and art bike racks in our community.
As you walk through the waterway, you see some pretty creative bike racks that you would never think, or benches that they sponsor. And it's just, it's taking George Mitchell's vision and expanding on it. And the Arts Council has done a phenomenal job with that. Also, one of our biggest events that we have all year long is the Woodlands Waterway Arts Festival in the spring. It's
huge.
Incredible deal. Yeah, it's
huge.
really
a lot of moving parts.
But I mean, we have visitors from all over the world come for that, and we're the largest arts festival in Texas. I think the 8th largest in the country. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so it's something that's growing, and it pays homage to George and Cynthia Mitchell and their vision for art. So that's why it's a great day on the 50th that we're celebrating. The mural is going to be right there in the middle of all that, and it's a perfect spot for a mural that's needed. So.
Well, I want to remind folks, if you're just now tuning in, I have Kim Phillips and Brad Bailey in the studio. We're talking about the Woodlands 50th anniversary, and we're almost there. We're on Friday, October 18th, which is, I guess this is probably another public event.
This is the big one. This is the big one, yeah.
There's 2 really big public events, and the first one on the Friday. We are hosting a free concert for the community at the Pavilion, Cynthia Woods Mitchell Pavilion, and we are bringing in Lyle Lovett and his large band. He's from this area.
Yes.
And Hayes Carl, who grew up here in the Woodlands. So to have both of them perform, we're very excited about that, and it just ties into everything about the Woodlands and our local community here. So it's a free concert. So if you go to thewoodlands.com, right on the homepage, you can click through. You have to register your interest in tickets, because being a free show, we've already had tremendous
I imagine
interest, and we want to make sure
on your driver's license it has said the Woodlands.
The Woodlands, yes.
So, right? Yeah, there is some, because when people hear free, they're like, oh yeah, cool, I'll just do it.
Yeah.
And then they're like, they don't even live here. That happens all the time here when we do special giveaways.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't live anywhere in Montgomery County. I'm like, well, why'd you sign up?
We want to make it for the residents first and foremost.
Yeah.
And it's a way for us to give back to the community and make it free, and have 16,000 people come and enjoy an incredible night. And again, part of the arts, the music, the pavilion's a big part, and they're a partner on this event also. But just to be able to give back and make it a full community to come out.
We have, it's important to point out, so Lyle Lovett's in our community all the time to this day. I mean, he's, I saw him in a restaurant 2 months ago. He does a lot here, but he's bringing his full orchestra. So this is live. Lyle Lovett and his big band is a different deal. So it's a full orchestra that plays with them. They always put on an incredible show. Hayes Carl graduated from the Woodlands High School or back in the day.
Yes.
Yeah, so he's got a tremendous ties here.
Yeah.
And then hopefully we might be adding another local person down the road. We'll see. Fingers are crossed. The agents are working out the contract. But
They usually do.
Yeah.
And they take
But
forever.
it's tying in that local vibe and being able to talk about the history of living here and what it was like. So that's really cool. But it's going to be a huge night. It's going to be something that's going to be really special and a memorable. Kind of like when Frank Sinatra opened up the pavilion. It's one of those type nights. So it's a legacy night for us.
See, I never knew that.
Yeah. Frank Sinatra was the first person to ever open. He opened up the grand.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's pretty good.
That's pretty
And
wild.
when Jeff Young at the Pavilion, he reached out on behalf of our whole committee putting together the 50th. When he reached out to Lyle Lovett and Hayes Carl, they instantly said yes. I mean, they wanted to be a part of this because they know how tremendous our community is, what the community means to them, and giving back and being a part of it. So very, very special night. But please, everybody listening, go to thewoodlands.com and register your interest because there's a lot of
That's going to be a big
interest out
night.
there.
And a big shout out to Jeff Young, the CEO of the Cynthia Woods Mitchell Pavilion, and his team are playing a huge role in putting this night together. And we're pulling out all the stops. It's going to be a really impressive night of celebration.
And then we had the final night, which is Saturday.
The grand celebration, the actual date of our 50th anniversary, Saturday, October 19th, and the township will be producing an extravaganza for our community in North Shore Park, Hughes Landing, and Town Green Park. And there's going to be a lot of great activities.
Yeah, there'll be a huge, all day there'll be festivities, almost carnival fair-like.
Yeah.
There'll be entertainment, bands and playing all in the different parks. Obviously, it'll be a good walkable day, kind of like the Waterway Arts Festival. But I think the real cool thing is at night, there's going to be a firework and a massive drone show. We've been working really hard on this drone show. We did a huge
I think it's the first in the Woodlands.
the
big
first
drone show like this.
So it's going to be impressive. Over 1,000 drones going at one time, doing all different scenery with fireworks and music. So it'll be a cool event for people to come see.
And the drone and fireworks show will be over Lake Woodlands.
Okay.
Beautiful setting.
Yeah, because I put the link in. It has there's so much going on. There's a lot going on. And you're going to keep updating people, especially on that day, because that sounds like there's a lot going on for the actual 50th on that Saturday. Because to me, I'm an all-day kind of guy.
All right.
So it's just like I always plan it out. Where am I going to go? Here. So the Lake Woodlands is going to have the drone show. That's the key viewpoint.
Right.
And then all around town, there's going to be different things.
And there'll be
going on.
fireworks at Town Green Park and a lot of festivities.
We'll have food
for-
vendors and all kind of things for people to kind of spend the day there and enjoy the celebration. So
And there's a lot to learn about the Woodlands too. So I encourage those who do not know anything about the Woodlands, use this as an opportunity to learn about it, because it is. To me, it's intimidating when you first see it and you hear about it. It's a little Stepford Wives kind of thing. No, really, to me, it really is. But then you start understanding the concept of people who care about their community. It isn't just saying, hey, I care. It is literally the community being involved and taking care of itself over the years. Yeah. Because this isn't like a 5-year deal. People have been living there their whole lives. And that's the idea is you're, like you said, you eat, pray, live there. Right. So that's the whole concept, not just for 5 years, 2 years, 10 years. It's like, no, people who have been there and they take care of it.
It's generational.
Yeah.
People grow up here, they'll leave, go to school, maybe work somewhere, come back, raised their family here, and that's what makes it so special. It's the residents, because they do care so much and they take a lot of pride, and they want to maintain the Woodlands what it is and continue to evolve. And
I just tell people, imagine growing up in a neighborhood and you have those few neighbors who really care. You know, they always throw the block parties or things like that. Imagine like 100 of them, and then multiply that again.
130,000.
Yeah, and then that's so it's not just the cul-de-sac that cares. It's not just the neighborhood that cares. It's the town that cares.
And
so,
you mentioned all the history on the webpage, thewoodlands.com. We've been creating content and articles all about the history of our community, and from everything from the arts and education to the vibrancy, sustainability, the events, activities, the history of it. So if
there's a
everybody
lot.
goes on, there's a lot of different content that people could read. And also we have a couple other programs that we're doing, and working with Interfaith. They're selling 50th anniversary merchandise. All the proceeds benefit our community and charity. So you could go to woodlandsstyle.com, or if the woodlands.com has a link to it. And then we're also doing a photo book. We did an all call to residents to submit photos of our community. We had over 1,000 entries. The deadline was May 31st.
Okay.
Over 1,000 that we're going through, and just amazing. People just took with their iPhones, because you could take great photos with your iPhone. So it was open to everybody. So we'll be putting together a photo book, which will also be sold before the holidays, proceeds benefiting Interfaith in our community.
Yeah, it's there's also education going on every single month. We have a every month is a theme that is going out that we're talking about, but we're highlighting from nonprofits like Interfaith that do so much to education is a huge part of what the Woodlands is, and so it's really interesting to start reading those history points and how people went about things. One of the things I think is pretty cool that, we talked about George Mitchell earlier and his vision. The Woodlands was so far out 50 years ago that, that's a long haul. People are like, you're doing what, where? There was a lot of green space between downtown Houston and getting people to their office, because so many people left the Woodlands to go work in downtown and that. He actually was the visionary and made it happen to get the Hardy Toll Road built. I mean, to be able to, think about building a freaking toll road back in the day, I mean, that's visionary, right? And, goes right by the airport and drops right into downtown. I drive that a lot to and from work. But you look back 50 years now, how much of an important role that is getting to the airport. And one of the people are choosing to come have their corporate headquarters here is because they can get to IH Bush in a short amount of time. And I mean, he was thinking about that decades ago. So, it's just another testament to.
Well, it's almost like you're getting to the point now you need to start protecting it, because there's so much growth going on in this area. Yeah. It's like, how do we keep the Woodlands? Because, I mean, eventually that's what's going to end up happening. It's just no one really knows what's what anymore, and
we're almost completely. I mean, what is the percentage? We're almost completely built out. I mean, and now you're starting to see a lot of the older homes and the older villages get torn down and built new, and I think that's a challenge for us as a township to look at, to make sure that we keep the Woodlands.
Well, no, it sounds like you need to get a camera, and you need to go around these developments and take pictures and talk about the trees.
Yeah, there we go.
That's what it sounds like to me. Yeah. Someone needs to do it, because George isn't around anymore to do that.
No,
so
we all take pride in the trees, and maintaining the feel and the vision of George Mitchell is very important to all of us.
Yeah, someone needs to get a camera or get a drone.
Or we can just get some bracelets made, like, what would Jesus do? And say, what would George do?
It's like, hey, we got rules here, guys.
That's right.
But thank you so much for coming in and talking about this, because I think what's the key thing to take away, folks, is there is a link to all this information, and the big 2 nights is Friday, Saturday. That's like the public kind of thing. And then you need to register for the music. You need to register. You can't just show up and just expect to get in. But I think Saturday's more my jam, because it's more of like, it's free flowing. It's cool. You can do whatever you want.
I think Friday's gonna be a pretty good night too. So you just might just spend the night.
I'm not really into that organized stuff. I really like the idea of walking around and just kind of experiencing something different and seeing things like that. That's more my style. And then also the mural. I'm really excited about that, because those are always interesting to me, because it's going to be there for a while. Whoever the artist is, I want to talk to.
No pressure. Yeah, we'll bring them in.
I'll just put all the pressure on them. I'm like, this is going to be. People are going to see this. But I'm just kidding. And the tree's going to be kind of cool too, especially after all the fallen trees. It's like, this is kind of a cool little idea to
incredible to see.
put Big Tree in. And then, so is there anything else we want to talk about? Because I do have the website there for them. You guys have all the information on there. Is there anything else going on you guys want to talk about?
I would say also follow us on the Woodlands social media pages, because
Okay.
that's where we're putting
Is that
out
the
all
the township,
content.
or is that
The Woodlands.
It's just called the
Howard
Woodlands?
Hughes, the Woodlands.
Okay.
Yes. And that's where all the content's coming out of, and then it all links straight to our webpage where
Okay.
everything is. But there's so many articles on the history, the infrastructure we have coming up, the governance model, because it's such a unique community, and there's so many great stories to tell with
Yeah.
the history. Not just the history, it's history, current, and where we're headed in the future, because that's just as important. For
Well, that's what I was
everybody
saying.
to
That's what
know,
I'm saying
where
with
are
all
we
the growth and what
headed
people
with
want to
that?
do,
Yes.
especially what families expect. Because I imagine the family dynamic's going to change just a tad over the next 50 years, right?
Yeah.
So what do people want from taking care of their family, growing in
Right.
the area? So
And that's the importance of evolving, and the infrastructure that George Mitchell put and that we at Howard Hughes really take a lot of pride in developing is to be flexible and to
Yeah.
evolve with the needs of the community, because community needs change every decade.
Yeah.
So we want to be able to maintain what we have, yet evolve to meet those needs.
Yep.
is that why you're requiring the Ritz to have trees inside the condos?
Yes.
Is that I'm just kidding.
Love the idea.
But again, thank you guys so much for coming in. This is such a great idea, and it's not an idea. It's it's the 50th anniversary, so you got to do something, and it sounds big. So I wish y'all luck organizing it, and I look forward to more information coming out, especially on the Giving Day on the Tuesday. I believe that's the second day we're doing it. That's going to be a good day for people to volunteer and get really involved with their community. But guys, I've just had Kim Phillips and Brad Bailey in the studio, and we're talking about the 50th anniversary of the Woodlands. Again, that link is below for the woodlands.com/50th anniversary. And we're going to get back to more music here on Mornings of Lone Star. Don't forget, we have a new episode of Audience of One at 10 o'clock this morning, and we have also new shows. And Cindy's going to be live today around 2 o'clock. So stick around. You've been listening to Lone Star Community Radio here on irlonestar.com and Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1. We'll be back.
Homelessness. Have you seen parents struggle to